Hello, everyone, and welcome to EVTN News. And today, I'm just going to jump right into the news because I do have a few other things that I would like to discuss. So, let's start out with Cardinal Mario Gretsch, who said during a speech, this is his quote, "Thanks to the Synod, we are living the ecclesiological process enunciated in the conciliar pages. For this reason, we can affirm that it is the ripe fruit of the council." So this is called saying the quiet part out loud. He's saying that the Synod is a continuation of Vatican II. Wow, who would have guessed? Okay. Um, Moving on to another cardinal, the disgraced Cardinal Wuerl. He has received over 4 million continuing ministry activities since 2020. According to financial records published by the Archdiocese of Washington, Wuerl has continued to receive substantial payments from the Archdiocese ever since he retired from leadership of the diocese. Outlining the distribution of funds received from donors, which came without donor restrictions, the Archdiocese of Washington's Central Pastoral Administration reported the following figures for the continuing ministry activities for Archbishop Emeritus. In 2019, 1.4 million, in 2020, 2 million, 2021, 1.8 million, and then it dropped off substantially in 2022, only 278,000, and this past year, 2023, is almost kind of half again, 145,000. So Cardinal Wuerl only got 145,000 last year, but it was over $4 million total in the last 5 years. It is not entirely clear what kind of appointment schedule or ministry activities Wuerl keeps in his retirement, but uh, looking at the do I want to say it's a fact that he was associated with McCarrick? I don't know, but considering that point, I don't know that his ministry schedule would be um, really in line with the Catholic faith. But uh, who am I to judge, right? That's a famous quote. Okay, Bishop. This is sort of like this is a multitude of stories. Bishop Robert Gruss of Saginaw, Michigan, issued an apology on Friday for having referred to Joe Biden, the current resident of the White House, as stupid during a talk earlier this month. Gruss had made the comment in a talk on April 5th titled Forgiveness as the Heart of Christianity. During the address, the bishop remarked that he doesn't have any anger towards the president. He said, "I feel sorry for him. I'm not angry at him. He's just stupid." The bishop said, arguing that he didn't use the word in a derogatory way. He said it's stupidity in the sense of he doesn't know until he does things. On Friday, the diocese provided Catholic News Agency with a statement from Gruss in which he argued his remarks were taken out of context, and of course, this enraged leftists by his straightforward comments enraged leftists. So yeah, so he kind of backed down because of the anger and backlash, particularly from National Catholic Distorter. Of course, who knows where they get their money? But I wouldn't be surprised if it's from the government. Okay, but in the same diocese, here's this story from the same diocese. Father Thomas Held has resigned from the pastorship at St. Joseph the Worker Parish in Beale City, effective immediately. Diocese of Saginaw Bishop Robert Gruss said in a statement on Tuesday. So he's dealing with this situation, and then he got himself in a little bit more hot water later on in the week. But in this specific situation, the parish and Father Held himself have been at the center of controversy since last month after area author Dominic Thrasher made an appearance at the parish's school to read one of his children's books, which are based on his family's dogs. Thrasher has identified himself as openly LMNOP, so he made an appearance at a Catholic school. About a week after he visited the school, the church's Facebook page was updated with a message from Held, the pastor, in which he wrote that a guest who does not represent the values of our Catholic faith read to our pre-K children as part of a school-wide reading program. So this openly elementary really shouldn't be allowed. So the pastor was rightfully disappointed and concerned. And the post Held said he was unaware that Thrasher had been invited, so it wasn't his decision, of course. It wasn't the pastor's decision that this LMNOP guy showed up. Backlash erupted following the message, and protesters demonstrating against Held, and local businesses calling for his removal. And they're not Catholic, so why does it matter? A Facebook group demanding his dismissal grew to hundreds of participants, while critics urged residents to write to the diocese with complaints about the priest. On Tuesday, Gruss said that the controversy led Held to come to the decision it would be impossible for him to bring unity to the parish. Well, what kind of unity are you looking at? Because it's fake unity if you're going to cave to the LMNOP mob. The bishop in his statement criticized what he said was uncharitable disunity on display amid the controversy. Why doesn't he criticize the sins that cry out to heaven for vengeance and those who endorse them? Because in 1 Romans, St. Paul is pretty clear about that. What the penalty should be for those who commit the sins and for those who endorse them. And he's pretty clear on that. But this is the mob. Now, I think the priest probably just wanted out. Notably so. But if this school is pushing back, because it's the community that's pushing back, but who cares? Because it's just Catholic. But if the school is endorsing this stuff, fire the people responsible, and if there's protests from the school, like the parents who send their kids there or the teachers, then shut the school down. Really. I mean, it's not that hard. Shut it down, because it's no better than a public school if you're going to endorse the LMNOP agenda. Okay, Bishop William Medley of Owensboro, Kentucky, admitted that his diocesan listening sessions for the October Synod revealed frustration with Francis's Vatican. Monsignor Medley summarized that this frustration was generally related to Francis's LMNOP propaganda piece, Fiducia Supplicans, and the confusion and consternation it caused among the faithful regarding what was perceived as an endorsement of the blessing of sin, Bishop Medley wrote in a summary report. It was released earlier this month. So, good job, not sugarcoating the facts. Also, his priests expressed frustration at a lack of clarity from Francis, particularly regarding the text Fiducia Supplicans. Francis was described as ambiguous in his teaching, while people want him to be direct. Tell us what you really mean. Each U.S. diocese was to send a summary report to the bishops' conference by April 8th, so that would have been a few weeks ago. And were you consulted by your diocese about their listening sessions? I believe these listening sessions were kind of, I think the Vatican requested these listening sessions from the diocese. But I think they also possibly, for a diocese to schedule a listening session just a month or two, it's very difficult to do that. But the Vatican tried to do this, and I think it was an attempt to maybe rig the outcome. I mean, would anyone really be surprised? Really, I mean, come on. All right, now this is going back to the Carmelite, Texas Carmelite dispute. So the Association of Christ the King in the United States of America will oversee the government, discipline, studies, goods, rights, and privileges of the Arlington-based Carmelite Nuns Monastery of the Most Holy Trinity. This decision ends Fort Worth, Texas Bishop Michael Olson's role as the pontifical commissary, which had previously given him governing authority over the monastery. So so my big question here was: this is the Vatican? Um, Now, was this are there Novus Ordo nuns in charge of these nuns now? That wouldn't actually help things. So, and this is, as with this whole situation, there's lots of back and forth, and it's really difficult to keep track of it. There's a lot of quiet for a while because they were basically like, all right, we're just going to ignore the bishop. And they're going to continue to do that. So I'm looking at a recent article from Gloria TV, and it says the Carmelite nuns of Arlington reject the decision of the Vatican to be incorporated into the Carmelite Association Christ the King. This decision was taken without consulting the nuns, who learned of it after the decree was published by Bishop Olson of Fort Worth. So they found out about it after the bishop published it. So much for communication. The nuns call this a hostile takeover of their community and their valuable 72-acre property, almost the size of the Vatican. This was worth up to $20 million. Oh my. Okay, the nuns said to accept the decree would jeopardize the integrity of our monastery as a community, threatening the vocations of the individual nuns, our liturgical and spiritual life, and the material assets of the monastery. Wow, so they're really rich. The nuns write that in the midst of the dark shadows of the present problems, they have found new life and grace in the riches of the Latin Mass. And the old rite. They had begun to explore the Holy Mass some time ago, but Bishop Olson opposed it. So the nuns said they accept the authority of Francis, and maybe the existence of Francis. I don't know, but they acknowledge that Michael Olson is the bishop of the diocese, but they're just going to ignore him, I guess. Okay. All right, and please leave a comment if you have any comments. I don't think there have been any comments yet. Okay. Auxiliary Bishop Luger Schepers, Schepers, Schepers of Essen, Germany. He's an auxiliary bishop. He's named 13 women from all over Germany as, this is the official title is Deaconesses in the Spirit. He did this during a ceremony on April 13th in the Church of the Franciscan Sisters of Waldbreitbach. The event included a blessing and a presentation of a Deaconess in the Spirit certificate. Now, I have to say, what spirit is he talking about? Because I don't really doubt that it's a spirit. The event marked the end of 3.5 years of formation in the Women's Diaconate Network. In his homily, Monsignor Schepers claimed that women are also called to the diaconate. According to Schepers' imbalanced theological understanding, it is an imbalance and a grievance that the sacrament of holy orders is reserved only for men. So this guy is just a raging heretic. But they're already doing women deacons. There's this fake ordination ceremony, and he's doing like a pseudo diaconate for women. Now, he's not calling it sacramental. So this is a bishop who, and this is a bishop whose masses are fully valid and licit, according to the Pope's planers, or the whatever you call them, papolaters. There's no problem with what this guy's doing because it's okay. The Vatican's not going to say anything against him, so it's fine. And this bishop is in full communion with Pope Francis, and he's not going to lose his full communion. So why be so rigid? Why would you be so rigid about it? Okay. Actually, what did I say here? I don't know. Okay. Yeah, the bishop is not claiming that it was sacramental, so it's fine. Yep. It's kind of like the LMNOP blessings, fully valid and licit. Okay, let's see what else. I don't think I talked about this one. I didn't actually post that link. According to Missa in Latino, the the North Korean climate in the Vatican Curia is getting worse and worse. We're talking about surveillance state. The U.S. government recently passed a large surveillance bill, and it was the what would you say, gutless or cowardly politicians voted for it. But the Vatican's also having their own Patriot Act, or whatever you want to call it, type of illegal surveillance. Although I don't know if it's illegal in the Vatican, but it is in the United States, but the US government's doing it anyway. Vatican officials have a dual mobile phone. It must mean they carry two phones, one for personal, one for work. They are very careful about their use of email, instant messaging applications, and private phone calls. France's secret police regularly use bugs to listen in on conversations. As a result, private conversations take place outside the Vatican offices. According to Missa in Latino, a high-ranking employee in the Roman Vicariate was fired after making some private comments about Francis that were overheard by the cleaning lady and passed on directly or indirectly to the dictator. Or Francis, I guess is what they're referring to. Okay. Now was that all that I wanted to see? Was that all there was to see there? I thought maybe there was something else, but maybe not. Oh, yes. Okay, let me see if I can find what I'm looking for here. This is a thought. It's not like I'm not presenting this as a fact. So it's Deacon Nick Donnelly on Twitter. He says, "Here's what I now think," and this isn't my opinion either, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. He said Joseph Ratzinger was forced to resign by Obama/CIA. Bergoglio was the globalist deep state operative prepared since at least 2005. The 2013 conclave was rigged by cardinal operatives on the inside. The objective was to make the Vatican and worldwide hierarchy an agency of the globalist deep state agenda. This was just one part of the plan in preparation for 2020 virus attack on the global population, and the globalist deep state has chosen the replacement for Bergoglio. So again, not my opinion. Okay. Let me get back to where I was at. And so I said, it's a possibility, just throwing it out there, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. It's a possibility. McCarrick was probably affiliated with the CIA. Francis has Marxist sympathies, and we know that McCarrick lobbied for the election of Francis in 2013, even though he was not a voter. McCarrick's network includes Supich, Tobin, Farrell, McElroy, Wuerl, most of whom currently have powerful positions at the Vatican, and those are the ones we know about. So it's a possibility. And has the next pope already been selected by the CIA? It's an interesting thought. I don't know. I can't say for sure. Okay, I'm gonna go sort of off of my script and talk about a few noteworthy items that I just saw come through. So Candace Owens converted to Catholicism. So very good. Hopefully she'll find the Latin Mass. Oh, she's going to speak at the Catholic Identity Conference. Very interesting. She parted ways with the Daily Wire at the end. I don't follow this stuff. She parted ways at the with the Daily Wire at the end of March because her critical views on war in Gaza. So she's a pre-55 Catholic because she talks about the perfidious Jays. There's okay. All right. Well, she hopefully she converted to pre-55 Catholicism. Here's a recent article as well. Cardinal Burke, he found financial supporters to pay for his Roman apartment, so he's still in his apartment, right? Oh boy, wow. Why doesn't he just move? It's 8,000 euros. Is that a month? 8,000 euros a month for his apartment? Wow. Well, I'd leave. Go back somewhere else. You can get free rent somewhere. Okay. I see that there was a priest from last week who I talked about, a priest in Switzerland who was critical of the LMNOP agenda, and his trial went predictably. As you would expect, he was not charged. So, very good. And I think that is, yeah, that's what I had. All right. Okay. The TLMC. I don't know if I'd. There we go. Okay. The TL. Oh, here we go. Oh, I see. Did you see the news, Candace? Oh, good. Okay, I just didn't see any of the comments coming through. I think YouTube's looks a little bit different for me. So, did you see the news? Candace Owens is now Catholic. I think her husband might be trad Catholic. Michael Knowles is the godfather to one of her children. Cool. German bishops are plain heretics, but they are good and good standing due to the dollars. The TLM is like a retreat. I would say it's like a retreat, but every Sunday. Okay. And you should go to it every Sunday, if you can. All right, so Kansas City Royals fan, did you hear about the ordinations? And the FSSP ordinations are going to be, I think, on a Wednesday in Omaha in the cathedral. They're actually using the Omaha Cathedral, which is not even mistaken, and so it's not even. It's in a different diocese. The ordinations are in a different diocese than the cathedral, but if you have a chance, that'd be a really cool thing to do. Really cool thing to go to. So, if I were closer, I would definitely consider going. It's probably really long, but I actually know a few of the deacons that are going to be ordained to the priesthood, and so I'm really excited for them, and hopefully I'll get to attend some of their masses that they say whenever they swing by locally, and I'm pretty excited for that. So good for them. Pray for them. It's gonna happen. We were not sure, especially after some of the crackdowns. We weren't sure how the sacraments were gonna work, but it looks like it's gonna happen. So good on them. Now, if you at this time, if you're entering the FSSP seminary, are you a little bit concerned about getting ordained? I hate to say that, but anyway, it's a tough spot, and I have to say I was disappointed in the Mass of the Ages video, because at the end it said, "Oh, we have hope." Well, what do you have hope in? Do you have hope that the Mass is not going to be canceled? Because it could be, and then what? What are you going to do? Are you going to say a private Mass? And that's the problem, is that who's going to fight for the Mass? And right now it's the SSPX. So now I have to say that there are a lot of bishops out there who seem less than eager to cancel masses and ban us from the Mass and the sacraments. And I think the response to the Pope's, to Francis's crackdown and his subsequent clarifications or rescripts or whatever you want to call them, the reactions to that are less than enthusiastic. So they're not. A lot of bishops really aren't interested in cracking down on the Latin Mass, and I think a lot of them see it in the sense that they don't personally say the Latin Mass, but they don't really care. I mean, if other people like it, then they seem to be fine having it available, and they just don't want to crush it. And I think it seems as though maybe the nuncio is like an evil. He's sort of like forcing their hand in a very evil way. And I don't know if that's what happened with Strickland. And this nuncio I'm talking about is Pierre, Archbishop Christophe Pierre, or now he's cardinal. Very raging modernist, very horrible. Lots of heretical views, and just kind of disgusting. Actually, Kansas City Royals fan. So apparently there's a deacon. His name is Deacon Wetzel. I'll have to say it. That's the one I know. Maybe he's at your. He's at a local parish. So my FSSP 8 a.m. low mass on Sunday was the busiest I've seen it. Okay. Hope because of the growth. Okay. So yes, I'm excited for him. Okay. I think that's all I have. I mean, the news comes in fast, and I really want to have not very many news stories. I want to have less news stories than more, but I'll report what I have coming in. So unfortunately, the next several months it's going to be like busy time. So I don't know, but it'll be all right. We'll be good. So that's all I have right now for EVTN News. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.